stay hype, I stay loose, I stay hype, I stay loose, I stay hype. I could do this all night, cause I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose.
Yo,
Alright.
did you guys get COVID vaccines? I know Jeej did.
Yeah, bro. Don't do it.
Did Jeej?
Don't do it.
Wait, why?
Don't do it.
I
Why?
died all
Yeah.
day Friday.
Bro, you
All day
say
Friday,
that
I
and
was
it's
dead.
already concerning, bro. What?
So my
Bro,
mom's
like-
a nurse. So my mom's a nurse, and she turned around and said, when you do take a vaccine, for the first 2 days, you're not going to be feeling that great. And she told me even to come over to her house and stay over just so she can look after me, and until I get better. But
I don't know, like,
for,
I know. Oh, Jeej is disconnected.
Oh,
Another
you kicked
two
him.
of me.
Look, you just.
I don't know what he's
Joker, why,
cooking.
Joker, why are you bullying him, man?
I didn't do
know what he's
nothing, bro.
cooking.
This man just disconnected his webcam.
He made him kick. He made him leave
Right.
again.
Hold on, what happens if I do this?
Raging.
Okay, if I do that, it still shows where Jeej is supposed to go. So I'm gonna do that just for the purpose of the video, but viewers can still see me. Just so you know.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what happened to him. But no, man, like, I've always been one that, like, any vaccine that I always take, usually within, like, the first 24 hours, you kind of get some sort of sick because, foreign substances being introduced so your body can create antibodies, etc. Not necessarily the full virus, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty normal. Like, if you're not used to getting vaccines, then I can totally see it. I know Alpha had to go through, like, 37 million vaccines in 24 hours. He was out for, like, probably 2 days straight. You were probably sick as fuck, something like that, in the military.
Oh yeah. Dude, it sucked. We had all kinds of freaking shots.
Yeah, but now you're immune to almost anything now.
Okay, I guess. I mean, some of us has the anthrax vaccine, and
Yeah,
so they got
like
it
if
in
you
their
got
blood.
deployed and stuff. Yep.
So like,
And then the flu shot we had to get every year. That sucked. Like if you would get it, you either get the shot or the nasal one. The nasal one was better because it's right after we got out, we just blow it right out of our noses. Shh.
I wonder, are there 2 vaccines? Right?
I think there's 3. There should be 3. I think there's 3 companies that are manufacturing it.
yeah.
Do you know
so
what those are?
I know
have no
one of
idea.
them is. I know one of them is AstraZeneca. The second one is done by Pfizer, and the third one I am not really 100% sure.
But I think each country is different, right? Aren't you guys doing it different? You guys.
So
do it.
we
I know one
have
is Johnson & Johnson for us. That
we have one going with for AstraZeneca. So
Yeah, I'm reading what is it, like a paper here on the AstraZeneca one, and it's saying that on volunteers over the age of 65, the trial was 80% effective.
right, okay.
80%.
80%
Yeah.
on 6,000 volunteers.
Sounds about right. I mean, I didn't pay much attention to the figures as to how much how it was successful and how if it's successful enough or not. But interesting fact, really, speaking of vaccine, one of my homies at work, he just told me today that one of his cousins passed away after taking the vaccine.
Oh, that sucks. Like passed away of
Like,
what? Like
rest in peace.
no.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant. My bad. I meant like passed away like from COVID-related causes or just like something else or.
So according to him, he turned around and told me that she like over here we have like a waiting list, right? So everyone at the age of 60 and above, I believe, are priority number 1. Then goes by age group, and the ones between the age of 20 and 35, I believe, something like that, are the last ones to receive the vaccine. So.
Yeah.
She was in like the second priority group, and apparently she got a letter through the door and she went to get her vaccine done. And as soon as she got the vaccine in her, he's saying that she got infected by coronavirus at this point, and she got coronavirus, and within few days she passed away.
It's rough.
So I know that a lot of vaccines are basically either a smaller dosage of whatever they're trying to combat, or just something similar in order to create the antibodies, right?
Right.
Do we know if these coronavirus vaccines are actually putting like small doses of coronavirus in there, or are they putting like a different strain of coronavirus to kind of get your body?
I've heard it was just like antibodies or something that kills the membrane or the outer cell wall of the virus. And then I think the white blood cells take care of the rest or something. I heard it wasn't actually the virus itself that they were injecting you with. But I mean, it could be different. I actually read something about England or Europe is going through a third phase because even with the vaccine, there's a mutated version of it.
So we came across a couple of few variants over here. First, it was the Brazil variant. Brazil variant, and I think the second one was the South African variant. So I'm not really sure much about these because I don't know anybody near me who's got it, or I'm not come across it in any way, but it's just on the news that's going on saying that we found different variants of coronavirus kicking in. But also we are a little bit skeptical over here too, because of many reasons regarding government and the shit that's going on with the lockdown and all of that kind of stuff. So we are not sure if this is 100% legit or not, or is it fact. I mean, if it's a fact, all fair dues, but it's like every time, like, look at it this way.
What is it? Like the vaccine or the variant?
No, the variants, because I just feel like, but I don't know. Sometimes we get this kind of like a feeling that it's just a scare tactic. Do you know what I mean? Because every time we come, like, let's just say England's been in UK as a whole has been in lockdown since March last year, right? And just the end of March, and it's still going on. So for the first lockdown, we were like, there was a strict timing, no essential shops open. Non-essential shops were not open, and only the essential shops were open. That means like just going and buying food, day-to-day products and stuff like that. And during this time, there was a lot of issues going on, and eventually the lockdown came to the main lockdown came to an end at the end of September last year. So at the end of September last year, going forward, they introduced what you call a tier system lockdowns, right? Depending on where the cases are, like the highest cases were held. So they would go in different tiers. So tier 1 being the lowest, tier 4 and 5 being the highest. So our city, like my city that I'm staying in right now, was classed as tier 3. So that means only certain particular stores or kind of like shops were open for us to go and buy, like clothes shops and stuff like that. But the bars and pubs were closed down. We couldn't go and socialize as much. And so we came out of this tier lockdowns just at the middle of December, because there was a lot of issues going on again, because people were not happy, blah blah blah. And then from then on, they introduced another lockdown where again all the non-essential shops will close down again, restaurants, bars, pubs and everything will close down, and we're still in that kind of a lockdown. But coming I believe it's the May 2nd or May 1st or the 2nd, this lockdown will be lifted. So every time during this phases too, like people were not going to work, so the government introduced what you call a furlough scheme. So that means people can still be employed by the employer, but the government will pay you 80% of the income, and the 20% is paid by the employer. So the 20% will be paid by the employer. So last time when the first lockdown hit, the furlough was supposed to be only lasting for like 2 months or 3 months, something around that stage. But eventually, the government pushed it to September. The furlough will extend till the September period. Then, when September period came, they pushed it until March this year that the furlough will extend. And now they turned around and said something recently that the furlough is going to be extended until April or May, something like that. So it's kind of like making a lot of people who are working thinking, is this shit for real? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why? Like, you're lifting up the lockdown, but yet you're extending these furloughs. Does that mean that you're trying to purposely like be in this stage, or and in during this period, like South African variant, this variant, that variant, everything came up, and we're like, hold on a minute. Government is already giving us a briefing saying that the furlough is going to extend, but yet you're telling us at the same time that the cases are falling down, but also we're finding different variants. So we don't know where we're standing. So there's a lot of skeptics out there. One of them also being me is they're like, are they trying to do something purposely keeping up in this economy stage? Is it benefiting them in any way?
But that's the thing, like how would that benefit them? Like freezing the economy, like the capitalism slowing down. I don't see any benefit from keeping people at home. You know what I mean? If anything, they benefit more from consumers spending their dollars. They benefit more from consumers actively daily going out to work, because that means they're daily going out and spending more money. You get what I'm saying? Like that's what creates a thriving economy. True. I just don't understand why they would want to sabotage their own economy, because that's all they're doing.
So the furlough scheme comes into many ways, right? So at first, when they introduced this kind of things, they were like, okay, so the government will pay you 80% and the employer is going to pay 20%. But what's happening behind the scenes is, from many of the information that I found out, was the government is actually kind of loaning this money to these employers, and eventually the employers have to pay the money back over time period. And at the same time, there are certain things like, for example, NHS, like we got free healthcare, right? And our healthcare is kind of like in a state where about a few years ago, or even last year, I believe, our healthcare systems like deficit when money spending wise was in billions, and we were like literally in negative point. There was no profit coming out of it whatsoever. So I don't know if they're trying to bring that up back to that like level period or not. So that's what the main talk about amongst people that I chat to on a regular basis. So that's the only thing that I can think of, to be fair.
I mean,
you might even see them. So you might even see them implement they might take away the free healthcare, because they got to get the money from somewhere.
I was about to say, like, I can definitely see some sort of conspiracy theories as far as big pharma. Because like for example, I don't know if you knew, but there's a lot of places that just aren't getting the vaccine, and even places that are getting the vaccines, there's a lot of stipulations. For example, we mentioned the age limit criteria, just slowly. That might be more because of a demand. But did you know that there's 67 countries right now worldwide that have no vaccine whatsoever? Yeah. And a lot of them are actually in Central and South Africa. And then on top of that, like here in Florida, for example, they got the whole age restriction and stuff like that. Like, hey, like now people from this age can go, etc. But did you know that prisoners can't get a vaccine? And that's one of the places where it's actually spreading like crazy, at least, here in Florida.
Yeah, so over here, I believe the prisoners are also getting the vaccine. So I don't think like everyone is, everyone's ruled out. I think everyone's like given that fair chance of getting the vaccine. Now, there's a lot of implications if you're going to get the vaccine or not, how it's going to affect you. Like for us, in order to travel somewhere, we do need to have a vaccine passport. So this passport allows us to go to different countries amongst EU. And also other places around the world. So for me, especially me being traveling quite a bit, so I do need to get the vaccine in order for me to travel. Otherwise, what's going to happen is they're going to stop me in the airport and they're going to turn around and say, hey man, I can't let you come in. Please go back. You know what I mean?
Bro, listen to this. This is crazy. Pandemic has been particularly deadly for Native Americans in the United States. So Native populations that are not federally recognized in the United States aren't getting the vaccine, which leaves out 245 different tribes without direct federal source of vaccines.
What?
So
How
they're
are
only
they not recognized? They're natives.
Well, because the way that
Some of them,
is
because the population. I know, like with ours, ours is recognized heavily. Like they all have the vaccine. You know what I mean? They can all get it no matter
like
what.
only like the
But
major tribes, the ones that are
it's
like
just some of them
federally recognized.
Well, I'm probably gonna misspeak, and all my friends that watch this, they're probably gonna yell at me later. But it's, I believe if I want to say it's the Haudenosaunee Federation or something like that they have. That you got to be part of this, then this, and this.
Are you
Some
talking
of them
about
aren't.
yeah? So it says on here it's called the Indian Health Service. It's the organization. And if they're not like federally acknowledged by that Indian Health Service, they don't count as Native American as far as the United States eyes. So they're actually not being like extended that support. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. And I'm reading here that there's tribal elders that are dying from the pandemic. It's causing cultural crisis for American Indians and such.
So
that's
yeah. So over here, a lot of people amongst I don't know if you heard of the term BAME, right? So BAME is described as Black Asian Minority Ethnic Community, and a lot of them are like not volunteering to get this vaccine. And amongst like there's a lot of studies shows that is affecting a lot of this community oriented people. So it's like, okay, so the problem is, again, it's just that they're worried and they feared because the government for us over here has not given us this how do you call it, this guarantee, as to say that you're going to be all right. So it's kind of worrying a lot of people over here, especially in this community. I mean, I don't like to be called being part of a BAME because it's just like kind of like saying that, oh, you belong to this community kind of thing. Because again, it's just putting me in this kind of they're categorizing me. Do you know what I mean? I don't like this term.
Yeah.
So, but however, like I have to say it because this is out in the news, and it's like a lot of Black Asian minority ethnic community is like saying, no, we do not want it. Do you know what I mean? And again, they're saying
I've seen that on the news, like people saying that they don't trust it.
Yeah,
I saw there was this one black lady on the news that here in Tampa actually that actually showed up saying that she didn't trust the vaccine because it wasn't tested thoroughly enough on people like her specifically. So I mean, I can always see that there's gonna be skepticism, and I don't like this article I'm reading here about like the Native American one. I don't like the way that they word it, but they're using it, just to provide contrast in a dramatic way. They're stating that Native Americans and Alaskan natives specifically are actually dying at twice the rate from coronavirus than the average white person is. Again, I don't like the fact that they point that out, like it's the white person versus them, you know what I mean? Because I see what they're trying to do, but it is worth mentioning.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, for them that wording,
it matters.
Sells. No, not even that. It sells tabloids.
Yeah,
that wording sells.
Yeah, tabloids do make a lot of money just by having these controversial headlines across the freaking.
Yeah, it's just like clickbait, man. It's just this, but magazine.
So I mean, it's the same thing. Like, you can go through and you can write in a magazine, whatever you want, but as long as if that's what the hot topic is, we all can all agree that's been the hot topic for the last, year and a half to 2 years. Really, the hot, like, that's on the front burner. that's gonna people are gonna click on it and they're gonna read it. They're gonna say, oh well, this. You know what I mean? That's all that is.
It's a serious issue though. Like,
because
consider it like this. Even though we just started the vaccine hasn't been tested properly. Some people are denying it. Some people are taking it. Even people that are taking it, it's with restrictions, etc. Excuse me. There's still 148 countries that don't have the vaccine at all right now. They're on pace to get it within the next year, but just because they're lower income countries, they don't have it right now. And ironically, like for example, China, Russia, Canada, Brazil, Australia, those are all countries that either don't have it right now or are still in the beginning process of implementing, not like the UK and United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost don't like that UK and United States are kind of the guinea pigs for the vaccine.
No, is you gotta understand that, like, when it comes to democracy, UK and US will be the front liners for it because we own that shit and be like, hey man, this is what we need to do, and they kind of take charge when it comes to majority of the things. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
well, not even that. It's just we have the most voice.
Yeah,
in all reality, there's only a few countries in this world.
Major powers.
Right.
We have
that right.
But it's just there's only a few countries that actually have that. I don't want to call it a ban hammer, but we have that war hammer where it's like, yep, we're doing this. And it's surprising to me not seeing China, Russia not having it. That's very surprising.
Well, maybe it's just they're not to that point. But as far as what you're talking about, like the stature of countries that, hold their own weight and they're like, hey, we're not waiting on nobody. China and Russia are up there, man.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. But how do we know that?
Military power, presence.
But with that, though, comes to virus,
population, military power, etc. Just like countries that don't necessarily wait around on other countries. I think is
well, the thing is with Russia. How do we know? They probably already have it. They probably already had it before any of us had it. They're not going to let anyone know. That's just the way Russia is. You know what I mean? Same thing with China. They probably already had it. They're just not going to let nobody know.
You think so, man? Because I mean, you got to be
mindful,
man.
Very secretive country.
Yeah, but the press is super powerful, bro. All it takes is just a little whisper, and then it's all over the internet. And could you imagine the scandal that would have already formed over here if we found out that China had a vaccine for it like a month ago, or like a month in advance or something like that?
But I mean, the thing of it is,
they can't control an entire population of not saying one thing.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, this too is though they're not like massively free countries either. You know what I mean? They don't have really a freedom of press. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it is over.
See, it's you gotta understand, like, media as a whole, they just like again, Windu said, like, media is a very powerful thing, bro. Just one little word is enough to like give us a kind of like a thought process. Is like, oh, could they be doing this? Could they be like, you start doubting these kind of theories out there. So
there's plenty of good people out there, man. Like, there's plenty of good people that are legit, even if they can't say anything because of the the government that they live in and all that. There's somebody out there that'll just tell somebody in the United States, hey, this is going on. And then you'll see an article somewhere that says, hey, unconfirmed sources say blah, blah, blah. Like, there would have been a spectacle, an investigation, etc. Because you got to be mindful. Other major countries like the UK, like the US, are going to hold other countries not only responsible, but accountable for shit like that. Like, trying to keep a vaccine for themselves and shit. I'm pretty sure we live in a day and age where you can't like, even if you had it in advance, I don't see it going by more than like a month or two without the rest of the world finding out. If that, maybe even like, honestly, today's day and age with technology and everything, 24 hours, the rest of the world found out you got a vaccine, bro. Now the rest of the world, and who wants to hide that, bro? Like, I'm sorry, but big pharma, bro. If China came out with the first vaccine, they could easily sell that shit and monetize and become even more billionaires than they already are, if that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate, but it's just sad that they stand to profit more by coming out to the light and saying, "Hey, we're the first ones with the vaccine," as opposed to hiding it. Like, no, they don't stand anything to gain by hiding it.
Yeah, that's true, and I think also it gives them this kind of sense of power as well. Is they like, hey, we can do this. Let's show these fools outside our country what we stand for. Do you know what I mean? It kind of give them the kind of a high to say like we are better than you, like just to throw it in our faces. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just to prove like, hey, we figured it out, you didn't, sort of deal.
Exactly. And where are you at? Where's your technology at? Like, it kind of questions a lot of our side of the world. Is they like, oh, if they can do it, like how come countries like UK, US, and all these like major countries can't do it? Like, do you know what I mean? It kind of questions normal people's mindset. Like, oh wait, yo, I bet like there's something going on mysteriously, like something deep's happening, or is it that are we just not that superior when it comes to this kind of like technology? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so look at this. I'm reading since last year, Britain's been doing this. But for example, here the CDC in the States, the United States American Rescue Plan funded $1.75 billion in genomic sequencing, basically just testing for different variants. So they can be aware of different variants that are coming out, start developing vaccines for it, etc. $1.75 billion, and that's just in the United States.
That's
in a country where, what is it? I want to say we, as a country, we hold the most amount of millionaires independently, but we don't hold the most amount of billionaires as a country. Like, as like that's something worth thinking about. Like, other countries could easily make a good buck as far as just research for the vaccine, and I'm sure they have. Because $1.75 billion in funds, bro. They just funded the CDC for the next 10 years. Low key. Or more.
No doubt.
Or more.
Pharma knows what they're doing. Big Pharma knows what they're doing. And they've been doing it for a long time. They got the money to do it. They got the personnel to do it, you know? So they know what they're doing.
Now, I'll acknowledge a theory of, hey, like, you know, like if somebody tells me the coronavirus was man-made, it was made by Big Pharma to rack in more money, I'll acknowledge a theory like that more than, you know, like with the strain, or the strains are popping up in order to keep like people inside. Like, I don't think it's government controlled. If anything, it could easily be just, you know, corporation controlled. Because variants, because once you have a vaccine, variants just create more profit. An ever-changing variant of a disease just means more profit for a corporation. And you know, you could go down the rabbit hole and be like, oh, they found a cure for cancer already, and you know, it's like, what is it, like a $12 billion a year, some shit like that, just to treat cancer.
They just treat them. That's why they don't.
So
they don't lose all that money.
Yeah, you
they found a cure,
you could easily go down that rabbit hole.
People don't need the treatment anymore, you know. But that's a whole nother conspiracy theory on its own.
That's what I'm saying. You could easily go down that rabbit hole and still not find
like. Speaking of conspiracy theories, though, like I heard so much nonsense, like people just spouting without any facts and information out there, and it's like, okay, so like I'll only believe a conspiracy theory if I can actually see or actually have some kind of a factual evidence holding behind this theory.
But they'll never have it. That's why it's called a conspiracy theory. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's true.
But speaking of facts, as of Sunday, 82.8 million people have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and that includes the 1 shot or one of at least the 2 shots. So you got the 2 shot, right, Gage? I think it was.
Yeah. I take my second one April 20th. Supposed to be the 16th. No, it was supposed to be April 16th. Yeah, mine's a 2-part. So I was supposed to take my second one April 16th, but because we're gonna be out at I'm not gonna be able to be around for that date, they had to push it the following week for the next clinic. So I mean, mine's gonna be a little bit far, but they only say you're only able to push it back. So 23rd is the last day I'm able to take my second dose. You know what I mean? So I have to that appointment.
So I'm still waiting for a letter through the post saying that, hey, you got to go for that point. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But I tell you what, though, man, that first shot sucked. I mean, I recommend everyone getting it. I was against it. I still kind of am against it.
Why'd you take it?
Because, well, my wife went to take it because of her work. She works with in an agency where she takes care of people. So they were recommending taking it, and she's like, well, if I gotta take it, you gotta take it. Well, that's fair. It's fair. You know what I mean? So I went and took it. But see, I was against it because I didn't. One, it was really fast how that came about. I mean, any vaccines, man, that's something you're putting in your body, and if it's something that quick being pushed out, I'm sorry, but that's too quick.
But you got to understand as well the amount of people working on this vaccine too, because they can fund this kind of shit.
Oh yeah, and that's
you mean like an accelerated research?
Yeah, granted, yeah, it was an accelerated research, everything else. It was great, but I like to know what's going on in your body. You know what I mean? At that point, and it was still, to me, it was still pushed way too fast. Especially knowing that there's 3 different types of vaccine. That's where I'm also.
So, according to like the information that I got on my screen at the minute, so companies right now that's pushed out the vaccine, right? So you got Oxford University's AstraZeneca, right? So this is a type of vaccine which is like a viral vector, right? Which is genetically modified virus. So this goes in 2 doses, right? And then you got Pfizer's BioNTech, right? Which is like a collaboration between the American and the German company.
Yep, that's a 2-dose.
Yeah, which is a 2-dose.
That's what you took, dude?
No, I took the Moderna or Moderna.
Yeah. So then that's like a RNA, which is part of a virus genetic code, right? That's the type of vaccine that was created. Then you got the Moderna. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah.
I want to call it Madeira, but it's Madeira.
No. Madeira is like my city, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, Moderna, which is like RNA again, which is also like a genetic code. Then you got Novavax, and then you got Janssen, which is still waiting to be approved. We're waiting for it to get approved in the UK. Novavax is a US based, and Janssen, I don't know which. I think that's I believe it's somewhere around Germany side. So,
but yeah, over here we also got Johnson, and they're a 1-dose shot where it's one and done. And see, that's like I said, man. There's just to me there was just too many being pushed out at once. It's like,
there's a lot
why
of
don't you know what I mean? Why don't you focus on, if you want something where it's going to be good, take 3 companies that are on top, focus all your research. All right.
It's all about that money, man. It's all about that money.
Oh yeah,
there's too much money for there not to be competition.
Yeah.
But you know what's something interesting that I'm reading here? So you know when you see those charts and they're like, oh, like this area is high risk, this area is medium risk, this area is super high risk, etc. So I was looking at that one here in Central Florida, and it's saying that all of Central Florida is listed at high risk, right? But then down below, it actually tells you about the risk levels that, you know, like they're considering. And I'm like, holy shit, like I didn't know this. Did you know that, for example, starting from low risk, low risk is if the average daily rate of reported cases is less than 1 per 100,000 people over 2 weeks. That's what they consider low risk. Now, going up to extremely high risk 45 cases per every 100,000 people over 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand, why they might say it's extremely high risk, but like, for example, almost all of Central Florida is very high risk, not extremely, the one before, very, which it says is about a daily rate of 11 cases for every 100,000 people tested.
Okay.
Like I understand there's a risk, but I almost feel lied to whenever I hear it's very high risk. Out of every 100,000 people, 11 cases. Bro, the city that I grew up in here in Florida isn't even close to 100,000 people. It might be like 6,000 people. You feel me? And it's within the Central Florida area. It falls in that red area. So that means that, for example, in Central Florida, the biggest county in Central Florida is Polk County. It's right in between the county that holds Tampa, which is Hillsborough, and the county that holds Orlando, which is Orange County, right?
Orange County.
Polk County is the biggest here in Florida. It's Central Florida. And it's literally at 16 out of every 100,000 people tested are positive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question is that a lot? So you're honestly telling me out of 1 million people that got tested, only 160 of them were positive? You get what I'm saying? And that's a very high risk.
Yeah.
Like, is the fear tactic inflated almost?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say to you earlier. Like, the fear tactic is just crazy. Like, over here, we do, like I said, again, it's the tier base, right? So every places that we're going to or whatever it is, it's all based off of tier lists, and we just sitting there going, so over here, wait a minute, like my city in England, it's the most multicultural city you can think of, right? And when I see news saying that within this community there is so much risk of infections for coronavirus and stuff like that, I'm sitting there going, hold on a minute, no, that can't be right, because our city is like not even that high risk of infections, but most of the cases that we're hearing out is like 2-hour journey from me. Do you know what I mean? 2-3 hours away from me. And they're the ones that's popping up on the news, constantly saying, oh, these people were affected, so and so, this amount of people died, so and so. And like again, it's just like the fear tactic keeps increasing over and over again. And so it's just like kind of annoying me in a sense. Is they like, wait a minute, is this even right? Is this even factually correct? Where's the evidence behind it?
Well, let me put it to you this way. I just did a little bit of math. So, again, in the last 2 weeks, Polk County, like we said, it's listed at about, what was that number again? So, on very high risk, which is an average of 11 cases for every 100,000 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, 11 cases,
Well,
100,000 people.
Cases,
that means
for the amount of people.
110 cases for every million, right? In the last 2 weeks, there were 44 deaths. RIP, unfortunate. But if we take the amount of deaths versus the amount of people considered in just for amount of deaths per million, we're looking at 0.00044% of every million are dying. When you consider the math, that's 44 individuals out of every 1 million people are dying, as far as numbers, so to speak, right?
Right.
Which sucks.
I hate
there's people dying. Like, we really need to find a fix. I get it, but the subject I'm trying to get on is kind of along the fear tactics thing. Like, they're and this is partly to the media that we were talking about. They're really selling it. Like, this is like an end of the world, biblical times sort of pandemic.
I don't know if you can pull up, like, I seen this the other day. They were comparing it. They pulled up the flu. It was like the deaths from the casual flu in 2018, and the numbers kind of matched like the start of COVID-19, and it was like they're going on that same. You know what I mean? They're following on that same basis. I mean, I hate to say it, but 44 deaths out of 100,000 people. You said?
Yeah, 44 out of 100,000.
I mean,
so
to me,
that's 440 out of 1,000,000.
I hate to say it, man, but
and this is just specifically in Polk County.
I really hate to say it. Don't get me wrong.
No, yeah,
but
I get you, because in perspective to other causes of death, in, for example, that exact same county, Polk County, Florida, which is the center of Florida, you get me? Like, it absolutely sucks, but 440 deaths in 2 weeks isn't, honestly, like a great number compared to other causes of death in Florida.
Oh, you know no, I'm saying not at all, but I mean, if you're going just by the numbers, like if you were just to hand me those numbers and not tell me what it was, you just said, what can you tell me about these numbers? I'd be like, well, it's pretty marginal gap. You see what I'm saying? Out of whatever it was, 440 something to 1,000,000. I mean, that's a huge gap.
Like, there's another thing as well too, right? Flu is one of the most like contagious.
Excuse me, keep on going, guys.
You know what I mean? And it's like a constant issue, reoccurring problem, as they say. Like flu, some of them can die out of it compared to thing. Now, if coronavirus, okay, yes, it came into light. Everything, it was a tragedy, when it started off in Italy. Italy was like the highest casualties with coronavirus at this point. But yet, they were able to pull out a vaccine for coronavirus. But yet, they don't have a solution for a common flu. You telling me? Like, how intricate is flu? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the only thing you can do with flu is suppress it. Do you know what I mean? You can only suppress it, but that means, like, does that mean they're never gonna find a cure for flu?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
It might be a similar scenario because there's a lot of variants, you know what I mean? But, like, I'll put it, look at it this way here. So, the WHO, World Health Organization, estimates that anywhere between 290,000 to 650,000 people die of flu-related causes every year worldwide. First of all, that's huge variation there. That's literally from the lowest number to the highest number. It goes up by over 100%. I don't understand why that's the metric. But even then, it says that from January 2020 to March 2021, which is a year and 2 months, there have been 2.7 million deaths reported worldwide related to COVID. Now, that number, I do know for a fact, is inflated because there were several, medical institutions that got caught labeling deaths as COVID-related deaths. Like, for example,
they were getting a kickback. They were getting a kickback for every...
They were getting a kickback, like 5,000 per person or some shit like that.
Yeah, it was like 5,000 or 10,000 per person if they died, or if they were hospitalized, or if they were treated in your hospital per case.
So imagine this.
So there was people coming in with car accident deaths. And they're like, oh, COVID. They died car accident because of COVID.
We had similar...
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That there was a lot of shadiness going around, which did inflate the numbers.
Yeah, like over here, there were some causes of death. But again, without even diagnosing properly, without even checking correctly and figuring out the actual cause of death, they just blamed it on COVID because this person had a similar symptoms. Now, having a similar symptoms doesn't mean that this person's got a COVID-19. Do you know what I mean? Because I was ill during this period and I had the flu. I couldn't taste. I couldn't do anything. Sorry?
What period are you talking about? Like, you talking about like early, like before it officially became a thing, or
like, yeah, when COVID officially became a thing, when we all went into lockdown and stuff like that, and I went ill and I had those symptoms where I couldn't taste anything. Like, I was feeling ill. I was, just feeling sweats coming out of no reason, and
Possible.
those are the symptoms that are related to COVID. But it doesn't mean that I had COVID. I just had a regular, common, it's something like because of me.
I mean,
my
I don't know,
work
bro.
schedule.
Not being able to taste is a pretty unique symptom. I don't know too many
Yeah.
colds
Like
that it's like, hey man, my pizza don't taste like nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing. Like maybe different, but not nothing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
even, what was it, October? I want to say it was back in October, not this October, but before COVID was even thing.
Mhm.
I remember I was sick. I mean, I was deadly ill. Like, I felt it for at least 6 days, and went away. And people were like, yeah, and I've talked to a couple people like, oh yeah, you probably already had it. You know what I mean? It's probably one of those things where you probably already got it.
Dude, I'll tell you what.
Like, it was just weird. Like,
it's definitely scary to not to know if you've had it or not, or if you can't get it. I'll tell you that. Well, like when my girl got COVID, it was very stressful here in the household, right? So
Did you get it too as well, or just it was just Jess?
Jessica was the only one that got it. I didn't get it, and believe me, I was ordering pizza almost every single day and be like, still tastes delicious. All right, that's my only way to know right now. Let's go. Even though it's not even a confirmed symptom, you know what I mean? But like I went and got tested. Yeah, I went and got tested multiple times, and all the tests came out negative. Like when she first started becoming ill, went and got tested, I was negative. She was positive. After 2 weeks, when I got tested again, I was negative. She was still positive. And then like 5 days later, we both went again, and then finally she was negative. But like I don't know, man. It's scary. I think part of the fear and part of the reason why it's so unfortunately popular, the fear is so popular, is the fact that people just honestly don't know. They could get a normal cold and they're like, is it the coronavirus? Is it not?
A few moments later.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Sweet. All right. So you guys fellas carry on.
Sorry about that.
Right.
I got a blue screen of that, but yeah, man.
Rip. All right, much love, Alpha. Alpha's got to bounce, so
When
it's just gonna be Joker G's and me for now. But but nah, bro, like I don't know. So here's my thing. Like I was saying, I think that part of the reason why there's so much fear is because people just quite frankly don't know if you have it or not. And there's besides no taste. Like for example, if I told you right now, how do you know you got COVID besides no taste?
You don't. You can't.
I feel like that's the only unique symptom to it. Everything else, you got a fever, you got a sore throat, you got a cold, you got a headache, like having difficulty breathing.
When I was in Thailand, right, I did have a bit of a feverish because obviously it's change of weather and everything like that, and I was not used to the environment. During this period, I did have this symptom where I did not have any taste or smell or sense or anything going on because everything was just bland for me. Do you know what I mean? So speaking of experience, is there like that is not just a unique symptom only for COVID-19 because there is a lot of other things that could be related to this too. But this is just going off my personal experience. Do you know what I mean? So at that time there was no such thing as COVID-19. Maybe not. I'm not there to judge it. But what the doctor diagnosed me was like I just had a basic common flu.
Yeah, because I mean at the time nobody knew better.
That's true.
Like a lot of people, and there was quite a bit of a debate about it. Like right before COVID was officially announced, there was a lot of people that had flu-related symptoms that were checked into the hospitals and checked into doctors and stuff like that, and like reported as flu-related symptoms, but they tested negative for the flu. Could have been COVID, could have been something else. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I guess the general question is, should the population be as afraid as everybody says we should be?
I mean, I would say having that, this worry is perfectly fine. Scared is a good statement I can say. Like being scared of having that, getting hold of that is a perfectly good term for it.
Well, but
However,
hold on. No, I was gonna say because it's not just scared. It's not just being afraid. You feel me? You got to be mindful of the fact that whenever the average person nowadays is hearing scare, you know, like they're scared of COVID, etc., they're taking this shit to the extremities.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's very true. Again, you know, just to go off on a thing my mom turned around and said, because she's a nurse and because she's got a lot of experience into healthcare, medicine, and all of that kind of thing, right?
Center your cam a little bit, by the way, Joker, if you don't mind, or like you center yourself on the cam.
All right, my bad.
Yeah, just in case, because we're now in a three-way. But go ahead, go.
Is it better? Is that better?
You're good, homie. As long as you're in the middle of your screen, don't sweat it. You'll be all right.
So my mom, she's a, you know, she's been a staff nurse since the age of 20, right? And she's seen a lot of things, and you know, she studied for this just to be a staff nurse. She could have gone further, but she didn't want to pursue it because, you know, being a single mom and all of that was a bit difficult for her. And you know, when I started talking about COVID vaccine to my mom, she turned around and said, you know what, you got to look at it this way. There's a lot of vaccines out there. It's trials, tested, everything like that. It's not 100% guaranteed that you will be cured of this thing or it will stop you from having this thing. Now look at things like malaria, right? Then you got polio, right? I don't know if you know much about polio and vaccine, how it was you know, kind of like put out there and became like a compulsory kind of a
100%.
thing. Yeah. So during this period, there was a lot of test and, you know, testing phases, and some people were affected. Now it depends on each individual's, their biology, how it runs and everything like that, how they can react to it. That has to be considered a lot of things too. And personally for me, my immunity is very good, right? I'm not saying that it's the best, but it's good, where I didn't have these kind of problems on a regular basis. Like I don't have asthma, this, that, and everything like that. So it all depends on the individual, how that affects them. Like some people can take it, some people can't take it. And all I'm saying is you have no choice. Like in order to get rid of an evil, you have to be a bigger evil kind of a situation. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, say that again?
In order to get rid of a small evil, like, you know, like a bad thing, you have to do something bigger and badder to get rid of that small thing, because you'll scare the shit out of it. And this is like,
it's just like fire with fire.
Exactly, but you need to be a bigger fire to get rid of the smaller fire, extinguish the smaller fire, and or engulf it in that kind of sense. So you have to use this metaphor in this kind of thing. So only, like, this is just the beginning phase. We don't know anything about this vaccine other than, yeah, it's been proven that, you know, it's 80% effective or things like that. But you got to understand that majority of that 80% are like testers who, like, there's ad campaigns over here, like, you can't be a smoker, you can't do this, you can't do that. So these are the only people they've been tested on. What about the people who's been smoking? What about the people who's been
the people
doing
with
other
underlying
things?
conditions?
Exactly. So that's going to have a different kind of an effect on them. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, okay, eventually it's going to happen regardless of what it is. These kind of symptoms, or, you know, these kind of after effects of having these vaccines, it could be extreme or it could be very minimum. So I guess all we have to do is go by this risk of, hey man, I'd rather take the vaccine, or I'd rather just get exposed to COVID-19 and just wish me the best, like, hopefully I can survive this through kind of situation. And that's all I'm saying. Like, I would personally take it, because it's not that I'm, you know, 100% guaranteed like I am going to be cured by it, but I have no choice. If I don't take it, it could be possible that I could contract it.
I just read something that's good, but like for the wrong reasons. So, so when the Biden administration began quietly, like, you know, like getting Mexico to ramp up efforts, like, hey, you know what, like, hey, chill out the migration over here, man. So US is now going to be sending millions of vaccine doses to Mexico and Canada in order to try and prevent individuals from migrating into the United States just to get the vaccine. Which I kind of I get from a safety standpoint, because like imagine individuals with coronavirus come over and in search of the vaccine and they end up spreading it more, right?
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, I live on a border. I live on a border town,
up north.
and our borders, you know, it's only essential crossing only. You know what I mean? Like, you can't cross unless you absolutely have to. Like, I can remember when this first hit, for 4 or 5 days, there was campers flooding our interstate, coming from Florida back to Canada from the Canadian, like our winter birds, just pulling their campers out of Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, wherever they were staying, where they would fly down during the winter, stay there all winter, you know, during the winter months, and then come back during the summer. They were just hauling them back because they don't know when they were going to be able to go back down. And I was talking to one of the Canadians over at one of the truck stops. I'm like, man, I've seen a lot of you guys out, you know, traveling back. He's like, yeah, the Prime Minister put a date saying that when we had to be back, because they were shutting down the border. And I'm like, what happens if you can't get across? You know what I mean? In that date, he's like, then you're stuck. And he's like, good luck, you know, finding a place to put your camper, because none of the camping grounds were open that summer. You know what I mean? They were closing everything down. So, but even still to this day, they're right. We have a big sign at every one of our exits going up. It says border crossing, central crossing only. Border crossing. You know what I mean? Don't cross unless you have to. And same thing for us going across. I mean, we can't cross unless we, let's say, there's a couple people that work in Montreal, you know, that live in the States. You know, they gotta travel back and forth. I mean, they can, but I can only imagine not even testing. They got to go through the border because they're not going to always test. But you know, they probably got to get screened and whole 9 yards every time they come across.
Like it's the same thing over here too. Like when people like I've been recently come across some news too. Like people who came here on holiday, like vacation or whatever, like business thing or anything like that. Like we got told, they got told yesterday, saying that if you enter UK, you have to go under, your own quarantine rules. So you have to stay inside for 14 days within this area. So the government charge these guys like £1,780 or something like that just to stay in a hotel room for 14 days. Then they have to be clear of certain things, symptoms, or whatever it is, and they have to go back. Like, bro, that's a lot. Imagine coming on holiday, right? And then afterwards, like, you're stuck inside the room.
Bro, I had a homegirl that did that. She decided to go to the Bahamas. Like, literally, I'm not even kidding. Like, 2 months ago. Decided to go to the Bahamas. And she got COVID tested and everything, showed that she was clear. Went on the plane. As soon as she landed, they quarantined her in her hotel for 2 weeks, made her miss work. They had a whole bunch of activities scheduled and paid for, missed them all. The hotel reimbursed everything, but literally after the 2 weeks of quarantine, it was like, all right, so they basically got to go back. Their vacation's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, see, we were planning on a cruise here. I can't remember if it was the end of February, beginning of March. Right in that February 28th to March 6th, and that got canceled. It was just a bunch of stuff, man.
Like, the funny thing is, right? You know, after doing all this pandemic and everything like that, like I understand, like certain industries need to be up and running, but when you actually put a country in lockdown mode, why have airports where, what do you call it, the dock station, everything like that open, and all these
Ports.
borders open for people to come in, when you can just turn around and say, listen, you can't go to this country, don't waste your money until they go off of the lockdown period.
Oh, you're saying like a forewarning, like instead of letting people come in and waste their money and time.
Exactly. Like how annoyed would you be that, oh, you can come, let's just say I invite you
That's
two
just
guys to come over to
misinformation,
England. Sorry?
That's just misinformation. Think about it. Because maybe those curfews were listed there, but that doesn't mean the airlines, which is handling flights for all the world, that doesn't mean they were updated with that information. I can imagine that the government didn't say, hey, we might want to let American Airlines know that there's restrictions here, you know?
No. But the thing is, like, they should have done more. Like, it's their responsibility to hand out notices to all these companies saying, like, who provide transport to go to different countries, right? It's their responsibility to turn around and say, look, we just, like, because they have to liaise with the embassy and everything like that. So it's their responsibility to turn around and say, listen, we should not, like, allow these companies or anything like that allow passengers to go across the border, or even stop them from allowing them to book a ticket to go to a different country, because it's heartbreaking. Especially, like, let's just say this one whole year was just like fucking boring. You didn't do a lot of shit. Your kids are missing out on shit and everything like that, and you want to give them a good time because all you've been doing is stuck inside a house and not doing anything, and then you're wasting so much money just to go to a different country, and then afterwards stuck inside another room for 14 days.
I probably wouldn't go to a different country to do that, though, quite frankly. That is on the higher side. Yo, let me bring this by you guys. I just read something here that is kind of mind-blowing. So they specifically mentioned the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, that they're remarkably good at preventing serious illness, right? But there's an article here in the New York Times that says that individuals with those vaccines, even though it might help curb serious illness, it doesn't necessarily stop the individual from getting COVID. It just helps it. It just helps it from becoming worse, or it just helps it so they don't get symptoms if they get it. But that those individuals could still be carrying COVID-19 and could still transmit it. So there's a debate here in this article of whether people with a vaccine should wear the mask or not. Because a lot of people feel like, hey, I'm vaccinated, I'm good, I don't gotta wear a mask anymore.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys know, right? I don't know about you, Windu, but Jeed, you told me you go to work, right? And you're exposed to a lot of people, right? So let's just say our country set out this NHS app, right? It's basically traceability app. So if you got COVID-19 symptoms, right? You go to a test, and then afterwards, basically all your information will be on this app, right? So you go to different areas, and if you come in contact with this kind of person who's already got like this symptom saying that, oh, this man has just been tested positive for COVID-19 and he's supposed to be in quarantine for, I don't know, 14 days or whatever it is. So it's kind of like it just bounces information off each other's phone kind of a thing. So if you come in contact with it. Now at your workplace, what kind of rules and what kind of sets have they put in your workplace in order to prevent this?
I plead the fifth.
I don't know what that means, bro. I'm from UK. All I know is when I see movies, I plead the fifth means, right, I am not going to perjure myself here in any way. So is that what it means?
No, so we have it's not big protocols. I mean, we follow the CDC guidelines. Like every other state does or has to with and their employees. We have the mask rule. We have to wear a mask. But they with our job, they don't have it limited. You need to wear the N95s. You have to wear the hospital masks or whatever. I wear a Garner. You know what I mean? Because it's easy for me to work in. But it's a lot of places.
We have to wear this mask, right?
You have to wear that one.
Yeah. Anything that covers, not just that part, but anything that covers up to this part.
Yep. This part right here.
Yep.
That's all it is. So that's all we'll use. As long as they can go over your nose and your mouth, all your respiratory areas, you're fine.
You cover it up to here, and you have to walk, wherever you go throughout your whole entire workplace. If I'm in my truck, if I'm in my trailer, or if I'm like around my vicinity of my truck and trailer, I don't have to wear it, especially in the truck. I don't have to wear it, or the trailer. If I'm outside and there's nobody around, I can take it off, breathe, so on and so forth. But the minute I walk inside one of the buildings, or I come within, me personally like to do, I do the 8-foot rule. Okay. So that's the distancing.
That's just my thing. I mean, I know it's 6 foot now. It's actually only 3 foot here in New York.
So we have similar over here.
But I like to do like that. But our work also, they monitor. We have a tablet that's in our trucks that that marks us where we go. They have a blueprint of where we went to, how many miles we took, all the good stuff.
Right.
So they know, all right, he was at this stop at, let's say, 12:25. All right, I was there for 45 minutes, and then I left. Within that day or the next day, and they report, we had one of our employees end up coming down with the virus. They'll contact all their vendors. Then their vendors will go through, say, hey, from that stop at 12:45, where else did you go?
Okay.
And in the back of my mind, I gotta remember, okay, I went here, 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 and here, and here. How many people, how many cooks or how many other vendors did you counter? So that way they can
keep track of everything. If anything happens.
They put a lot of it on us, which is good because it keeps us kind of fresh. But it's just because they can't keep eyes on everything. But when I go to like a nursing home, let's say, I go to an assisted living home. I walk in, I have to sign in, show that I have a mask, but they actually use one of theirs. So I'll keep mine on until I get in the door. I'll grab one of theirs. I'll sign in. I'll take my temperature. I'll walk back outside to one of the employees, and I'll take mine fully off, and I'll put theirs on. I'll do the full delivery. And then when I leave, they have a waste paper basket outside. Hazardous material basket. I'll take my mask off, put it down, put mine back on. Same thing with some of the schools I go to. We got to get temperature taken. We got to sign in. We got to let somebody know that we're there. We just can't start delivering. We have to have somebody check us in. I just can't grab the thermometer and go, I'm 97.3.
Because people can lie.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they're the ones that have to scan you. You have to sign, they have to sign, and but see, thing of it is, I travel. Today I went to Vermont. So there was a big state to state restriction as well. So because I'm an essential employee, and my job requires me to travel between state to state, I don't have to quarantine, which I don't know how my work really got through with that, but I believe it was because my work gave me a paper stating, I'm an essential worker, I went all through the whole list.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My PC got another blue screen. Rip.
No, you're good.
What the heck?
And so it gave me, so when we come across, we don't have to quarantine over in Vermont for 14 days. Because we do it. You know what I mean? But like I said, my work's very extensive with it, man. They follow CDC
Right.
guidelines all the time. When this first started, they wanted us wearing rubber gloves. You know, the mask. We would wash our hands at every stop. Like when I would go in, I'd put my gloves on, then I would go in, set all up, do everything, do the delivery, or I would set all up, go in, wash my hands, dry them completely, put on a new set of gloves, go out, get my product in, go wash my hands again, put new gloves on, close up my path route and everything, all the doors and everything I had open, shut them, and then go. And it was the same stop for 14. How many other stops I was doing?
Yeah.
Just because I was handling product that was going into the kitchen, and then that product would be going out to customers, getting sent out as take home. Even though it's getting cooked, but it's like.
That makes more sense using gloves and everything, especially in a hospitality and catering environment, Like over here, I work in a warehouse, right? So when I'm working in a warehouse, we have to go around the whole entire building wearing a mask, covering from our nose to the tip of your nose to your complete mouth. And also we have to follow a 2-meter social distancing guideline. So
about what? Course, 6 foot?
Sorry?
2 meters is about 6 foot. Roughly.
6 foot. Yeah, I would say something like that. Yeah. Like from my arms. Yeah,
that's what ours is. Yeah, as long as you can't touch, you know what I mean? It's 6 foot is over here. Like I said, New York just went down to 3 foot to social distance. So I mean, dude, that's huge. And that's huge for our business as well.
Like the funny thing is, like, the reason why I brought up the work topic was because, like I said, we have this app that we use around the country, and it's a government approved app where all the information, if you've been tested positive, your information, you need to have this app on you, so that if you can't in touch with another person, they can just probably get that information straight away and be like, okay, this guy needs to do testing, or this guy needs to do whatever. And the funny thing is, like, I don't mean to like drop my workplace in this matter, but my workplace legit have these leaflets printed up saying that make sure that you don't have your app turned on while you're at workplace. Like, that kind of shit is
that's not sketchiness though. I can see where it is.
No?
I think it's very
shady. I mean, over here,
shady.
I don't want to say I can see how they don't want it, just because it's inside their business. They probably have their own.
No, but the thing is, like, hear me out, Jeej. The thing is,
the whole point of the app is to track movement and exposure.
Exactly.
And by them purposely shutting that off just so they don't get in trouble, so they can still be productive.
Exactly.
That's kind of shady, right?
That is very shady.
At that point,
yeah, this is very shady. Now, bearing in mind, they have this around the whole entire buildings, every corridor that I walk through and everything like that, don't have your app on, yet they're following all these guidelines and everything like that, saying that keep your 2-meter distance, make sure you wear your mask, everything, so and so. But did you know
follow all the guidelines that don't cost us money?
Exactly.
Basically.
And then basically, like, legit, we had like around 100 people or so infected, right? And here's a funny thing, we don't know anything about these infected people because we have come in contact with them. I'll give you an example. My friend, one of my close friends, he works with me, and he was at work and he was not feeling well. 2 days later, I'm like, hey man, I've not seen this guy. He's supposed to be at work. Is this guy sleeping? So let me text him. I text him like, yo bro, where are you? He sends me a text message saying, bro, I've been tested positive for coronavirus. I'm like, what? I've been working with this guy for the past 2 days. This guy was a supervisor on the floor. God knows how many people he's in contact with at this point. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, sorry. What do you say?
Oh no, you're good. My bad. I was gonna say, like, my girl works in human resources, and legally they're not allowed to tell anybody who got the coronavirus. All they can say is that if there was exposure, they can alert those individuals, and that's it. Like,
it's medical record.
And I actually had I don't know if you know what this is, Joker. I know Jeej knows. A Lowe's, which is like a Home Depot. It's just like a hardware store. Like a hardware store where they sell wood, tools, stuff like that.
Yeah. We have something similar called the VIX, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a hardware store over here that literally half of their staff got sick with COVID. All they did was they sent the confirmed ones with COVID home, the ones that were within 6 feet, within a couple days home, and then the rest of the staff normally working, they quote unquote sanitized the store overnight to make sure everything was good, and then just kept on going about their business. But then I'm over here like, how many customers were those individuals talking to face to face or next to or whatever? And the store didn't even notify. You know what I mean? Like going through the tapes, checking out the all the cards that were paid, and it's like, hey, this person probably should know before they make it worse.
Now here's a funny thing. Like again with the exposure, right? Like I tell you, my friend, he's a supervisor. He was a supervisor. He left now. He's no longer a supervisor because he couldn't handle that shit. But when he was a supervisor, they had to do what you call a temperature check, right? This is when the height was going on, and they had to do a temperature check before they entered the premises and everything like that. So during this point, he actually came in contact with the people who actually had these symptoms. And that's how he contracted COVID-19, right? And he's going around, he's telling people, like, he had to do a lot of chores in his list, like go tell people off for being late, or, telling them that, oh, you can have your rest day and this, that, and giving holiday approvals and everything like that. And he came, like, everybody knows in that workplace, like, me and him are close friends. Like, we will go eat, lunch, dinner, whatever it is, or take breaks or whatever it is together. It's there, like, because, hey, he's my homie. Do you know what I mean? And knowing all of this, and 2 days have gone by, and I'm thinking, where's this guy? What's happening with him? He turned around and said, bro, I got contracted with COVID. I was there like, bro, why did you not tell me this? He's there like, I got told that I'm not supposed to contact anybody. I was like, okay. Then second thing is, as soon as I found that information, I went downstairs to my workplace and I asked the other supervisor, did you know that he had COVID-19? The supervisor, to my surprise, was like, I did not know this. I'm there like, he's your colleague. He works with you. How the hell do you not know that he's contracted with COVID-19?
I mean, no offense, but this is also the same company that's telling everybody to turn their tracker application off.
Exactly.
So I'm not surprised that there was somebody with COVID and they tried to keep it hush hush, because they probably want to keep production up, which is kind of fun. Yeah.
And then afterwards, the funny thing is, like, I went up and then they called me, like, bearing in mind this, I asked them about this around 10 o'clock in the morning. The girl comes up to me around 12 o'clock in the afternoon saying, oh, can you please go to the office? Went to the office, this is just me asking them, like, did you know, Lewis, sorry for dropping names, but did you know that he had COVID-19? And that's
there's a lot of Lewises out there, bro, don't worry.
Yeah. So 12, yeah. So
you didn't drop government names, bro. You're all right.
Sorry. So at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, she comes up to me and takes me to the office. Bro, everyone is standing apart from me, like as if I got the thing, right? And the way
they work with them.
No, so they were so panicky during the stage. The senior supervisor that was there, right? I tell you what, I don't like her because her attitude sucks towards people. She does not have any people skills. Sorry to say this, but she sucked at people management. And she turns around and says, oh, how come you didn't come and ask me about this straight away? I was there like, I only found out about this while I was during my break. How am I supposed to know? You guys didn't even come and ask me, like, have you been in contact with Lewis? No, they didn't. So, anyways, they walked in there, and then afterwards they sent me home. And during this point, they told me to contact NHS 111 service regarding and give them information. And then afterwards said, please don't come back to work until you have confirmed your test. I was there like, all right, cool, no problem. Little did I know during this period that they changed their, the government changed the whole entire testing services and everything like that. Anyways, the manager, like her manager, the senior supervisor manager, calls me up in the most rudest manner and starts questioning me like, if you knew that he was infected with coronavirus, how come you still went up to him and met him? Because I went up to his house during this period and I asked him to borrow like, you know, a game and stuff like that. Like, you know, like this is just before that he got the result saying that he was positive for coronavirus. So during the symptom phase, I went up to him and asked him to borrow like, you know, a couple of games and stuff like that because we were playing on PlayStations and so. So he's telling me like, how come if you knew? I was there like, bro, I did not know that he had COVID-19 until yesterday, like today at 10
o'clock. The company you work for is shady as shit. I'm sorry to tell you, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just from the things I've heard so far, shady as shit. Like I'm pretty sure if this shit got leaked, I know you haven't mentioned a name, but I'm pretty sure if this shit got leaked, they would probably be either forced to shut down or implement a bunch of shit.
No. The most probably thing is, the most probable thing that would happen is they will try to keep it on a hush hush. They will make me sound like I'm lying and probably get me fired.
I could say that.
Not even that they probably got wind of it. They'll probably bring you in the office. An MDA. Make you sign an MDA.
I will never sign it. Like I've developed this kind of how do you call it? This thing against them. Like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell the truth as it is. I don't care if you're going to sue me. I don't care if you're going to try and take me to court or whatever it is. Like,
that's dangerous, don't give a fuck. Like it's kind of the fucked up part, but that's dangerous, bro.
Like if I looked at it in this point of view, like over here, right, we have a lot of immigrants working, right? So they have this kind of a skate active. Like most of these immigrants, they can't speak English very well and they can't stand up for themselves. So as soon as they get pulled in the office, they get scared, thinking they're gonna lose their job and they're not gonna stand up for the shit that these guys are just kind of saying things without any facts or any kind of evidence and just kind of like making them feel like the way, for example, look at this, right? I'll tell you exactly how fucked up these individuals are. One person, I walked in there to the office because I wanted to ask a question about my holiday that I put in for request. During this period, when I knocked on the door, I opened the door and you had one of the admins inside the office on the phone to another employee saying, why the fuck are you not at work? Do you not know this shit doesn't run according to you? You need to come to fucking work. Like, you do not speak to an employee this way at all.
Yeah, but that's just a shitty employee. Like you can't necessarily.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Company off of a shitty employee.
No. I'm not saying that it's the company. It's just that these individuals that's inside the office that's not getting marked up, right, are kind of the ones that's kind of like, you know what? I don't want to get in trouble with the head office, so I'm not going to report this kind of incidents. Do you know what I mean? And this is how fucked up my workplace is, and I'm kind of like tired of them in some sense. But all of this kind of practices is just like, bro, what the fuck? Like, no wonder we had so many infection rates because people are so negligent regarding this. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah, it's like that everywhere though right now, man. Even right now, people are just so sick of, like, I can just date back to, the last few months. People are just so sick of side. People are just, they're just so sick of not being with people, and they're willing to take that small risk. I mean, Christ. And the sad part is, the worst thing I find that the CDC or the government or who they ever did was say, hey, there's a 98 point something percent survivor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst thing they ever did. Because to me, I'm like, I'll take those odds every day. I mean, Christ, if you gave me 98% chance of winning the lottery, you think I'm gonna play it? You know what I mean?
You think it was bad to say that?
But I think it was bad. I think it was bad to tell them that there was, that high of a risk, because now that high of a survival rate, because people aren't gonna wear. The other day, me and my wife went through Walmart, and I counted like 5 people without a mask, just walking, all willy nilly, and it's like,
yeah, I see them everywhere.
Yeah, I see some people over here too acting like complete twats. You know what I mean?
No, but I can see it. Like, if you're outside, whatever. You know what I mean? You're outside. I mean, it's a different thing. But when you're in an enclosed building with a lot of people inside that store, give me a break. Put a mask on. Or you see the dummies, the douchebags that just, oh, I got my mask, man. Yeah, what are you protecting? Your freaking 8th chin? You know what I mean? Keep that, put that shit up, wear it right. You know, because tell everyone that 98%, man. People are gonna be like, okay, well, it's starting to get nice out. I mean, today in northern New York, man, we got 65 degrees out. It's a heat wave, bro. It is pure sunshine. It's a heat wave.
Like, over here, there's no such thing as like heat. Let's just say it that way. But
no, you
don't
got rainy days. If it's not raining,
I already hate that sentence.
Sunny. It was sunny.
No such thing as heat. Get me out.
Like, no, to be honest with you, in England, right, in UK as a whole, bro, we only probably see sunshine and heat for like 2 weeks of the year, right?
Because it rains so much over there, man.
It rains, it's cold. There was one point like I saw like 4 different seasons in one day. You know what I mean? It got sunny, then it started to rain, then it went really cold, and then bam, snow.
Get me out. I wouldn't do it. Yo, honestly, yeah. I think as a general consensus,
COVID's bad. Get your shot.
I don't even know, bro. It's not even that. It's just the fact that there's so much information, so little information, and then I think the confusion of what really is the biggest threat to COVID.
Oh yeah.
Because I promise you walk out there to like 99.99% of people and be like, what is COVID? Well, it's a coronavirus. What is it though?
But these are the same people who thought coronavirus derived from the beer Corona. Do you know what I mean?
So sad. Dude, actually, sales in Corona did drop whenever that shit happened. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Corona.
Stock went.
Dude, Modelo tried to pay the U.S. government like a large amount of money to change the name and call it something else because of how bad they're being affected. Yeah. I would have too. That shit.
If I would have thought about it and went smarter, you probably could have bought hella shares to that organization. Because how bad they were taking a hit. Hella cheap.
I don't think they dropped that.
Yeah, I think they just dipped, but I wouldn't say they dipped. Do you know what I mean? So is they like, hey man, anybody can go and buy these shares?
Oh, actually, no, yeah, that's true. Because there was actually Corona parties. People were having actual Corona parties.
So I was gonna say, like, we've been at it for a while. Is there anything you guys want to say here towards the end of it? Anything specific?
Yeah. One thing, and this is just a nice little easy transition. You know how I like my transition. My easy segues.
Dude, don't even
Speaking of Corona. Speaking of Corona.
All
right. There's a few people left on Earth, right? But there was a company that was making drinks. And you were able to take 5 drinks that only you could drink because they were significant to your DNA, what would they be?
Wait.
What
do you
the
mean
fuck did you just ask me?
significant to my
What
DNA?
the
Yep,
how
only-
are my
no, not
drinks
significant,
significant to my DNA?
Like it's only
Like
for
I
you.
can't live
Like,
off a fruit punch. What are you asking me, bro?
Like here's the thing. Like you got 5 drinks, so it's I can't drink whatever Joker has because it won't fit me. Like I can't drink
Hey man,
it.
if anybody's watching this late in the podcast, leave a comment down below. Give me a 1 through 10, 10 being the highest of how fucking ridiculous this man's segues and questions are. Cause what the fuck are you asking me, bro?
Just for 5 drinks, bro. It's your end of the world drink. I just need 5 of your end of the world drink.
Okay. It's not saying significant to your DNA. Just say what is the last 5 drinks that you would like to have.
Okay, there we go.
Am I gonna assume I'm
There
dying?
you go. No,
No, you're the last.
I can just keep drinking these forever.
you just keep drinking these forever. These are the only last 5 drinks
Alright,
I'll ever have.
So the first one I'm throwing in there's water. Duh. I gotta survive. I'm not gonna survive off of yoo-hoos. Yo, is it bad that I would probably say water, some sort of liquor, some sort of beer, some sort of fruit juice, like natural fruit? Let's just say.
Yeah, but what kind of liquor? Would you go with a rum, whiskey?
I'd go with whiskey and Mexican beer. I don't know why. Okay. Whether it be Corona, Dos Equis, whatever. And then I don't know, bro. This is such a weird question. Get me out. Get me out.
It's fun though, but for me, it would have to be water again. Yeah, you're right. Water is very important. I need to have tea. Shit is very important for me. So anything that can make me a cup of tea.
Mate, you're fine. Just ask for water and throw some leaves in it from the jungle. You'll be all right.
Throw leaves in the jungle. Jack Daniels as a liquor. Coke, just to drink on a casual basis, and tropical juice. Done. Those are the only drinks that I would have.
Well, see, I would have water. No, of course, gotta have water. That's just an easy. So
Are you sure that's significant to your DNA?
Yes, it's significant to my DNA. I think my body is made up of a lot of it. I would probably have to go with a tequila.
What's that?
I'd probably have to go with a tequila.
Okay.
Most likely have to go with Bud Light.
Okay.
You know, it's easy beer because that's also a lot of water. Thinking if I run out of water, I can go with Bud Light.
You're not gonna be able to drink Bud Light and stay hydrated. Get the fuck out of here. Where are you reading these facts from? What kind of Wikipedia is educating you right now, bro? That's not how that's gonna work. You're not gonna drink Bud Light and be like, I'm hydrated.
I borrowed Joker's wiki, bro.
That's not Wikipedia, bro. That's Gigipedia. Do you know what I mean? That's Jesus.
It's perfect, bro. Our new website.
Gigipedia.
No.
I'd probably have to take milk, man.
Milk?
I would throw milk up there.
I have to take milk.
Yeah.
I'd have to take milk. I'd have to take coffee.
Hey, man.
I didn't even think about caffeine.
I need a coffee.
Nah, bro. Grab those coffee beans. Grab your water. You're good, bro.
True.
Don't waste one.
Yeah. And then
that's very true.
That last final one. That one's a tough one because do you want something sweet or do you want something savory?
I'm done with this segue already.
I would have to, honestly, if I had to take a last one, I'd have to go with DZ, bro. Give me some Diet Coke. Happy to go, bro.
Get the fuck out of here. Right, I'm out.
Bro.
I'm out.
Yeah.
No. I'm out. That's going to be the end of the video. This man just said Diet Coke. All right. You know what? Just to indulge Deej, what would you pick that's better than Diet Coke? Because fuck Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
I'm gonna end the video. Y'all have a good day. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Jesus.
I stay loose, I stay hype, I stay loose, I